call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Jacob, will you call the roll, please?
Butler.
Here.
Lipscomb.
Here.
Merzen.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Thrash.
Here.
Vincenzo.
Here.
West.
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, the first item on the agenda this evening is the minutes from the January 2nd meeting. Has everyone received their copy and have had a chance to look at it? And does anyone have any questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes. Sir.
I'll motion, yes, I accept it.
Take a roll call vote, please.
Butler.
Yes.
Lipscomb.
Yes.
Merzen.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Thrash.
Yes.
Vincenzo. West.
Yes.
All members are in favor. Motion carries.
Okay, minutes for January 2nd have been approved. Okay, the next item on the agenda is just very quickly. On January 23rd of this month, there will be another DORA committee meeting. For those of you who may not know, that's a designated outdoor refreshment area. Since we've kind of changed the beginning of the year here, Beth was on that committee, and she's now since gone, so any member of council would be interested in taking her place on that DORA committee for that meeting on the 23rd, please see Tom. He can give you any information. Or Tom, you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, if someone wasn't interested or council wanted to appoint that person to take Beth, Mike,
I'm interested.
you're interested? Okay.
If somebody else wants to do it.
Council agree to that? I don't know if there has to be a formal vote or something like that.
I don't think we voted the last time. We just created the
Just looking for
committee.
volunteers. Okay, yeah, Mike, next meeting is Tuesday, 6 p.m., 23rd, and anybody's invited.
What time is that meeting from?
6 p.m.
6 and here?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think some of the members previously recommended or suggested and asked that any members of council that wanted to sit in the audience and attend the meeting and hear what's going on, they recommended that so that they have an idea what everything's all about and not just a couple of people talking up here. So if you can make it that night, please attend. Okay, we'll move right on to the reports. Mary, do you have a report?
Yes, I do, Jim. Thank you. I hope everybody had a healthy and a happy holiday. I'd like to welcome the 2 new council members since I wasn't here 2 weeks ago. I had the Rona, and let me make the first recommendation of the year. Don't get it. I was sick for 2 weeks. But I do welcome both Lucian and Holly. Thank you very much for taking the time to volunteer and to work with council and to be on council. I look forward to a good year with us. Thank you. You both bring a lot of real life experience and enthusiasm to the table. And I think, again, we've got a very bright future. And again, this new year brings with it some new faces as well as new challenges we'll have. But I am excited to work with council, moving our city forward. One of the changes that's occurring is that Miss Elizabeth Glick had decided not to reapply for law director. Elizabeth has taken a new job and decided that right now her attention needs to be there. And I can certainly appreciate that. And I want to thank Elizabeth for her 4 years of unwavering service and work. And with her assistance, we've made some momentous leaps forward. And we wish her much success in her new position. And that now brings me to the appointments I need to make. And since this was an election year, several positions need to be reappointed for the new year 4-year term. Or I guess 2, pardon me, not several. First off, I respectfully ask council for the reappointment of our finance director, Annette Whealdon. In the 4 years she has been here, Annette has brought our finance department up to date We're now using the same programming as the state, and it makes it easier to track and account for the finances. We've had clean audits every year, and that's been here. Grants have been properly recorded and monies accounted for. So with that, I'd like to respectfully ask council to make a nomination to reappoint Annette.
Okay, this requires nothing but a motion and a second and a vote. At this time, would anyone wish to make the motion?
I move to reappoint her.
Okay, second?
Jim Cupping? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We were kind of hoping we could get the law director, because I think we had some questions, and I don't want to speak for all of council, but maybe postponing the other two so we can talk to the law director about some things.
We can do that, but right now we're just dealing with Elizabeth. We got a motion on the floor in a second. I'm sorry, not Elizabeth, Annette. So do we have a motion and a second?
Yes.
Okay, we take a roll call vote.
Butler,
Yes.
Lipscomb,
Yes.
Merzen,
Yep.
Smith,
Yes.
Thrash,
Yes.
Vincenzo,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
All members are in favor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, that reappoints Annette. Did you want to?
Well, secondly, I'd like to respectfully ask that Jeremy Greenwood be reappointed. Is there a particular reason you want it in another order? I mean,
Yeah, we have some reasons, I think.
okay. Then I guess I'll respectfully ask that I'd like to make my appointment and nomination for law director. And first of all, I wish to thank everyone who applied. Making a selection was very difficult, but I'm bringing forth a person who I think will keep the city going in a very positive direction. I'm nominating Attorney Joe Vavra, and I would like to thank him for being here. Thank you, Joe. And I'd sent out the resumes prior, and I'd like to make the nomination for Mr. Vavra for law director.
Okay, again, this requires nothing more than a motion, a second, and a vote.
I'd like to make the motion to.
I've just a question. If we have questions for him, are we allowed to ask now? Like, you know how normally when you're doing new appointments, are we allowed to ask him?
Yeah, once he is voted in this evening, he will be the law director for the city, and he can answer.
You mean questions about his being a nominee or questions?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, you know, as far as, I know I have a couple questions for him. It's not major. I'm just asking, I know prior, like before, when we were doing appointments, we were allowed to ask questions to the person in here. If that's not the way we can do it, then
is
that's
that
fine.
okay with you, Mr. Vavra? I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Jim?
Before you ask any questions, Christie, you made the motion to
Well, I
nominate.
started to, but I didn't finish, so
Okay,
if they have
so-
questions, then I can hold
Well,
off on my
if you
motion.
had, you just need to withdraw it, and then
I will
we'll ask the
withdraw
questions
that
and go from
motion
there.
for now.
I know, Jim, you've just gone down the table and just asked if anybody had questions for that person.
Okay.
I assume that that's the way we would do it, but if
Okay,
it's not okay to do it that way, that's fine with
We can
me.
do that. If that's her nominee, we'll start with Dawn. If you have any questions, yes, Joe?
No, not right now.
Okay, JC,
No questions at this time.
Christie,
No questions.
Tara?
I got, my one question is, as far as like your career, the job that you do, is there going to be interference between council, you know, being the law director for council and fulfilling your duties as, you know, as your career, your job?
I don't think so. I've discussed that with my boss, Kevin Flanagan, quite a bit.
Okay.
I don't think there'll be any conflicts whatsoever. I'm actually the assistant prosecutor for the western part of the county now.
Right.
So all of St. Clair's, I handle all the criminal matters, so I work side by side with law enforcement. So we're going to be on the same side still. So
I just don't know about the conflicts pertaining, that's your department, not mine. So, I don't know.
And just for an example, Dan Fry was our prior prosecuting attorney. Before that, he was an assistant prosecuting attorney. And he had been the law director for Martins Ferry for years, while also being the assistant prosecuting attorney,
Okay.
handling that area. So, no, I don't believe there'll be any conflict at all.
Okay, and you will be available for us as far as phone calls, emails, questions?
Yeah.
You know, we can come to you and feel confident that we'll get correspondence and replies and things back?
Absolutely. I can provide everyone with my cell phone number, my email.
Okay.
Texting and email is probably the best way because,
Sure.
I mean, work a decent amount.
Mine too.
So if I get a call and I can't answer it, text, email, or I'll call you back as soon as I can. Absolutely.
Okay, that's all. I just,
No, good
the
question.
conflict thing I was
Thank you.
not sure about. I don't know what all that require, you know, as far as your duties, like as law director for the city and then also as prosecutor. I just wanted to make sure that we don't run into conflicts there.
No, good question.
Okay.
Lucian, any questions? Holly?
don't.
Ike?
Yeah, not really a question, but I would hope you're real familiar with our charter, because it's like our Bible, and I feel sometimes it's not being followed, but I just want to make that comment. So.
Sure. I've grown very familiar with your charter over the last few months from things I've had to research, so, yes.
Question.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, at this time, we'll entertain the motion.
I would make a motion.
Second.
JC, take a roll call vote.
Butler,
Yes.
Lipscomb,
Yes.
Merzen,
Yep.
Smith,
Yes.
Thrash,
Yes.
Vincenzo,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
All members are in favor, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, all members are in
Congratulations, Joe.
favor, and Mr. Vavra is now the current law director for the city, and Joe, you can take a seat up here. You can take a hot seat
Just
up here with the rest of them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor, Council.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. No, good questions. Thank you.
Sorry,
Tara.
I just didn't know.
No, you're right. I appreciate you asking. Then I would like to respectfully ask that Jeremy Greenwood be reappointed as service director. During the 3.5 years that Jeremy has been here, our city has undergone impressive changes. First of all, Jeremy has tackled the white elephant in the room, which is the water infrastructure. Then he got a $5 million grant to boot. This was a Herculean job, and it's getting done. Did I say that right? I think so. Jeremy has acquired grants for the rec departments, sewer departments, waste departments to upgrade and fix decade-long problems. His architect's experience and his managing skills have made our city run so well, and I wanted to commend you guys. Today, Jen told me she's had calls from 2 cities saying to her, how are you guys doing it? And I said, doing what? And she said, she didn't even tell me which 2 cities, but like, how are you getting so many things done? How are you getting grants done? How are you keeping so many people? And I think it's because we're all willing to work together as grown-ups. We all want the best for the city, and we're working, and I think a lot of it is Jeremy. He's got a good sense of humor. We all respect our workers. We all, sick sense of humor, but we just have a lot of good stuff going, and I think the answer is largely Jeremy. His ability to negotiate contracts, his respect for our workers, it saved us hundreds of thousands of city dollars. Plus, I really love having Cinder, his dog, here working. So again, I respectfully ask for Jeremy and Cinder to be reappointed.
Okay, we have another appointment. Does anyone wish to make a nomination or make a motion, or does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask Jeremy? Okay, got a
I
motion?
move that we keep Jeremy as
You second?
I can second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now take a roll call vote.
Butler,
Yes.
Lipscomb,
Yes.
Merzen,
yes.
Smith,
Abstain.
Thrash,
Yes.
Vincenzo,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
6 members in favor, 1 abstention.
Okay, we have 6, we only need 4. Mr. Greenwood is also reappointed.
Congratulations.
So, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. I am sincere.
You're in the hot seat.
We have
again for
gotten
another
a
4
lot
years.
done. I'm really proud of it. I truly am. I take a lot of pride in this. And I'm really excited by the prospect of some of the new projects that will be coming, finishing some of the other projects. We've got a bright future, and largely it's due to you guys. Thank you. So, and lastly, I just wanted to acknowledge yesterday being a day off. We're meeting on Tuesday because it was Dr. Martin Luther King Day. And I'd like to acknowledge that and make a proclamation. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. taught us we're ultimately measured not by where we stand in moments of comfort and convenience, but by the stands we take during times of challenge and controversy. Whereas more than 50 years after his passing, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s words ring true today. They remind us all that moral leadership doesn't require a person to be in elected office or hold a position of power. Instead, exercising moral authority simply requires the will to do the right thing. Standing on the shoulders of civil rights leaders before him and working in concert with a generation of activists, Dr. King helped transform how our country saw itself in our future. And one of the favorite quotes of mine, he said, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." I don't think truer words could ring. So therefore be it resolved that I, Catherine Tallman, Mayor of the City of St. Clairsville, do hereby proclaim January 16, 2024 as a day of remembrance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you. And that's it, Jim.
Thank you, Catherine. Okay, does anybody have any other questions or comments for the mayor? Okay, we'll move on to Service Director Jeremy Greenwood.
Evening, Council. No legislation before us tonight, but I do want to bring up the GIS position that's still been tabled. There's still the possibility of the one reading just to get it out. Verandas has asked whether or not we're going to apply with a contract for them this year. So I just need to know a direction if we're going to hire somebody or if we're going to stick, stick with the consultant.
Okay, this piece of legislation has been tabled, so at this time, I think all we need is a motion to bring it back onto the table. Am I correct with that, Joe?
Yes.
Okay, so if somebody want to bring a motion forward to bring the GIS legislation back into the agenda?
I do.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I just feel we need stronger information on why we need it this year. I know we was talking at the finance meeting, but I think everybody here on council needs more information, more, like I say, stronger information on this year doing it. I mean, coming up with the funds for one, and just looking at our future, I just feel we need more information.
I just need a direction whether we're going to hire or we won't. So, I mean, council can vote however council feels on this position.
I'm afraid council might be voting without having enough information.
I just need to know whether or not to tell this company that we'll have them as a consultant again, or if we're going in the direction.
Yeah, they want us to sign a contract. They need to know.
So, excuse me, so if we're,
Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, so if we tabled it and we're going to keep it tabled, then we just make no motion and we let it, and then we tell them that we're still going to use them as, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, or you bring it up and council votes it down. Either way.
Is there a particular time that you have to know for sure?
No, he's just wanting to know. He's just reaching out already.
Schedule
companies
other
reaching
jobs.
out and wanting to know when, because the other thing, like I said, with the email I sent out to Christie, we have to get them shooting some of these things if we're going to do it, or if we're going to have somebody doing it for us, we need to get that position advertised so that we can go through the advertising process, the interview process, and then the hiring process.
So if majority is not ready to make that move, we just leave it tabled and you let them know that.
Yes, and I'll let them know that, yes, we're going to hire a contractor.
Yeah, so right now we had a motion but no second, so since it's...
Can I ask a question?
Pardon?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What is it that we need, like, more information about, just because I'm coming in, I'm speaking for myself as
Number
an
one,
outsider?
$75,000 a year.
But we have several...
$115,000 with benefits. I'm trying to get more information on, we're going to use them for locating and identifying these water lines going to homeowners' houses. I'm still kind of confused as to why we need a GIS person at that amount of money to identify lines that go into somebody's house.
It just wouldn't be for that. It would be for asset management. That would be the first job that they'd have to do. So the asset management is the thing that the EPA and everyone is looking at for grants and loans and things when we go after for some of these other, the water project. If we go after more money for that, they want to see our asset management plan. They want to know when the last time we exercised the valves. They want to know when the valves were installed, how old they are, what we're planning in place financially so that we can come back and go, okay, look, we're taking care of our stuff, but we need a little bit of help. So they're looking at it from the standpoint of they don't want to just keep giving money out to everybody. They want the municipalities to start looking at it. That was one of the reasons why, if you look in Sunday's paper, Shadyside was raising their rates. Things like that to be able to start doing some of these other things.
Is that going to affect our ability to get grants if we don't give all that information to them?
The asset management plan, yes.
Okay, that's what I was worried about.
They won't give out anything with that. They've asked for it even with the loans.
So it's like pretty much in this whole, I don't want to say tri-state area, but the whole Ohio Valley, nobody will be getting EPA grants.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, now that's the asset management plan. There's various aspects of it. Like, we have one, but it hasn't been updated in 4 years.
We have records of all of our valves that have been maintained and exercised.
We're trying to keep track of that and go through it, but that's part of where this person would come in and have that ability to go through it while we're doing all this other stuff.
And I understand all that, because you did show me our GIS. It's very impressive. We're ahead of, I think, everybody else on it. It's just we need a coordinator. But my question is, or my concern is right now, yes, we need a coordinator, but is it this year? That is my question with the money, the money of it.
The Ohio EPA, with their mandate of that project kind of forced our hand with some of this coming forward. It was going to be something that I was going to bring up to council as our next steps. But this just seemed like the perfect opportunity to say, okay, here it is. We'll bring them on and we'll see how this works out, and we'll keep moving with some of the stuff. I mean, even just the electric stuff, we've got transformers that, I don't know how old are some of them.
We don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, just trying to do that and come through and even identify utility poles. Some of our utility poles are old, and if they're in and out of, I don't want to say out of sight area, but if they're in a backyard, someplace where we're not always at, we're not going to identify it. The GIS person would be able to come in and go, hey, look, here it is, here's the analytical, this was when it was installed, hey, this thing's getting old, we ought to send somebody out to look at it, and we could develop a work order and send them out. So we're preemptively trying to fix things before they happen and getting proactive instead of reactive. We're still way reactive with everything. When something breaks, then we go fix it.
To fix it, yeah.
Want to get to the point where we get proactive with stuff. We're going out, we're identifying problems before they happen. Like this weekend, we had a lift station go down again. Simple fix. They were able to come in and do it, but it's one of those things that if we had this information, we could look at it and go, okay, yeah, hey, this thing's getting kind of old. We need to go look at this before it breaks, and then we have to, are in hurry up in emergency mode.
Oh, I understand. I understand that clearly, but also I'm looking at our future with the continuation of our construction of the water line, with Trinity coming in, the Belmont County. We got a lot of projects, a lot of expenses, and we just got to really, we got to put them in order of.
I get it, but that's where coming in and going, here it is, here's what we're to the point where we need to take the next step and go through it. Some of the change orders. So we've got, I don't know, what was Walnut? What did Walnut cost us? $20,000, $30,000? Yeah, probably. Our mapping identified it as plastic. Wasn't plastic when we got out in the field, so we went ahead and made the change order there. I don't know what the West End project is going to end up being. We've been messing around with that because our mapping wasn't correct in that area, showing where everything is. And talking with our staff, the people that installed it, they did it 30 years ago, but they're like, yep, that's it, it's right here. Well, we dug down and proved that it wasn't. So we're just trying to get to the point where we're starting to look at some of these things and go through it.
Understood.
I understand the amount of money, and believe me, I pay taxes here too, I know.
I know.
And I'm trying to go through it, but this is what we need to be able to move forward. And that's why I'm coming and asking. I'm asking for help.
Okay, can I ask another question? Is that okay?
Sure.
So the person that you use now, you contract out, and you paid the same person over the past year. If I remember coming to another council meeting at the end of last
Was
year.
$71,000, the contract amount was for $75,000, but we just got a bill for $10,000 for the end of the year stuff, so.
That's what I thought.
That puts it to $81,000.
So technically, it would be cheaper to have this person be an employee than as a contractor.
Yeah, what I was figuring was, okay, so I'm sure Christie shared this with everybody, but, we were paying $75,000, and I'm estimating that we get about 20 hours of work out of them, so we're paying them for 240 hours a year. Divide 75,000 by that, we're paying about $312 an hour for that. With us doing it, okay, so let's just say 115 with benefits, 40 hours a week times 4 is 160 hours a month times 12 months, it's 1,920 hours a year that we would have. You divide that amount, or the 115 by the 1,920 hours, $59.90 an hour, and then we're getting an additional 1,680 man hours out of it. So,
I do that.
but I get it. I know it's the same thing with the truck and everything else. But when certain departments that had, before, how many people did you have the maximum in your electric department, Donnie? 8. We've got 5 now. Well, in the 2. The wastewater department had 12 guys in it at one time. We've got 5 now. We have to be smarter and use the tools and equipment better to get things done and go through it, because we're just, I don't want to say we're overwhelmed, but we're overwhelmed with some of the stuff going on.
Yeah. I have a spreadsheet, I should have gave it to council on the finance, but that position over 10 years is going to cost us $1.4 million. I don't know, after 10 years what we're still going to be doing with that position. I just don't think we should spend $1.4 million to mark those. That's my opinion. That's 10 years. Unless we abolish the position after 2 years. We can do that. If we're creating it, we can come up with legislation to abolish it.
We'll be utilizing them. It's no different than any other position and the amount that's coming through. What do you pay the service director over 10 years?
Yeah, but there's ongoing stuff, and I know you're going to say there's ongoing stuff with that too, but once we get those marked, I don't see the value, I guess I should say.
It's data.
There's no value after 5 years.
Would you think somebody would be willing to say a solid 2-year contract negotiable after that? Okay.
Probably not.
Okay. No, I get
But
it.
that's where I just need to know.
We can only hope.
Either way, don't take this the wrong way, but I just need to know a direction. Do I talk to the consultant now and set it up, or are we going to go to the position? Either way, it doesn't matter at this point.
I'm in favor of the consultant myself.
Okay, so while we're all on the same page here, we understand what's going on. We have had a motion to bring this back on the table. We have not had a second yet. If it is seconded and brought back on the table, it will be voted on as the third reading because it's already been read twice. So if it is moved and seconded, brought back on the table, if there's a roll call vote, if it passes, it passes. If it's third reading, it goes into effect after, because it had the emergency, I believe it had emergency language in it, so it would go into effect right away. If it is voted down, then that's the end of the third reading, and if at any time 6 months from now or a year from now or whatever, we would have to start the process of legislation and everything all over. Because once it's voted down, that piece of legislation is done, and we would have to go with a new piece. So at this time, we have a motion on the floor. Does anybody wish to second it? Okay, so we do not have a second, and at this time, it will remain tabled. That is 2023-40. So that remains tabled.
Completed projects, we've had 4 water line breaks this year so far already. Water node replacement, we're up to 4 with that too. The Route 40 water line, the tap into the new crossover line has been completed. Water distribution project, Route 40 east through south side, new line is being installed. Walnut section has been completed along with the crossover from Route 40 to Walnut. The rec center new HVAC unit has been delivered. We're just trying to coordinate when we can actually do a switch out. We don't think we're going to be able to do it until March, though.
Didn't you say it needs a concrete pad?
We need a new concrete pad, which means that we have to take the old HVAC unit, which is limping along now, out, which means we would have no heat at all in the gymnasium. And Eric said they are booked until every night until March.
But
so
this is like the truck question. You can't pour concrete in this weather, right?
No.
Okay.
well, you can, but it's not easy and it's not worth it. Same upcoming projects. There's still a bunch of stuff going on through there. Department-wise, electric department, some service work going on, pole replacement. We had some issues with the storms, with the windstorms coming through. Water, wastewater has been nosed in the distribution project, the Route 40 project. We also had an issue with one of the lift stations. Smoke testing, there were 97 letters that were sent out, 66 have been signed for, 2 were returned, 26 have completed their fixes already, and 31 are still unaccounted for. And that is, in addition, we also have the 13 city issues that we're working on with stuff too. Street department, we broke 2 plows this weekend, just plowing snow. They just get wear and tear on them and start going through it. Rec, I don't know, Christy, did Eric get you anything on what's going on?
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about it then. Police, we'll let Matt go on that one. That's really about it.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. Anybody have any questions for the service director? Okay, thank you very much, Jeremy. We'll move on to police chief, Matt Arbenz.
No report. We do have a committee meeting afterwards.
Okay. Finance director, Annette Whealdon.
I have no report.
Planning and zoning administrator, Mr. Murphy.
Just a few quick things for council. The Board of Zoning Appeals meeting is this Thursday at 6 p.m. That's the Belmont Zen Center, the conditional use home occupation. All are welcome to attend that, or if you have questions this evening or before the meeting, you can contact me. Second item, I won't go into a lot of detail. Christie's here. Planning Commission, we did meet last Monday in regard to temporary businesses and food trucks. Christie can update you on the detail. I did, just so council knows, I did send those rough drafts to Darren Davis. He's the owner of Frosty's ahead of that meeting. And just so if he had comment, he did attend that meeting. So it's a good conversation there. And then in regard to the food trucks, it might not be in the planning and zoning section, but we can have it in the public hearing. I contacted 3 food truck owners, and I only heard back from 2. I sent them the guidelines. Overall, he's okay with them. One did say, just to make sure that, if they're going to be on public property, there should be some type of insurance. And the other one looked at the timeline that maybe just allow it during a day, I think from up until like 6 o'clock, so they can have, if it was on a public street, so they can have the dinner crowd too. So, any comment, feel free to ask me if you want to contact me. I will stop talking now, and Christy can kind of expand on it during her section. So, or if you have questions of me now, feel free to ask.
No questions. I guess we're good, Tom.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to council committees. Finance, Mr. Vincenzo.
Yeah, we had a finance meeting tonight, and on that meeting, I think it was kind of informational, but we talked a lot about preparing for the future spending of our city. Just trying to prepare for 2024 and moving into 2025. We talked a lot about the water line project, the county water, where we're moving with that, and the funding that we're hoping to get. We talked a lot about just different parts of the budget and spending. We talked a good bit about fleet, some of the spending and the budget for fleet. And as we talked about the GIS, we had a good discussion, same discussion in the finance meeting about the GIS and the Ordinances company. So I thought it was a good meeting. Annette, our budget for 2024, that's usually around March.
We'll start working on that, Jeremy and I, and the
Okay.
department heads.
Okay.
Has to be passed by April 1st.
And also you said that you're making adjustments for the 2023, and
Just
by next meeting
a few adjustments, and they'll be finalized. 2023 will be finalized.
the next meeting we'll have our final
Bank
numbers for
statement,
2023. That's all I have. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Don. Utility Committee, Tara, do you have any report?
No report tonight. Our next meeting will be February 5th, 2024 at 6:15.
Tara, have you talked at all to the CAC as far as if they're still having any money to, because I had a call today, Anita knows about a lady who's having
As far as the
any funding
help
left.
with the
Heat.
I'm sure they probably do.
What's it called? The
There's a winter
heat
crisis program. right
Okay.
Yeah, they've had other things, other years, way more help than that, but the
Okay.
heat thing is typically every year.
Okay, I'll remind me tomorrow, I'll give them a call just to see where they are with helping. We had a person call today, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to police. Mike?
No report. As the police chief said, we have a meeting after this one, immediately following.
Okay, Streets North Side, Tara, do you have anything?
No report.
JC, South Side?
No report.
Safety, JC, anything?
No report.
Building and Grounds, Mr. Vincenzo.
No report right now, but I will be getting with the Building and Grounds Committee, and we're going to set up our first, we'll find out a good date and time for everybody, and we'll get that first meeting set up.
Okay, Planning Commission, Christie.
The Planning and Zoning Committee met on January 8th to discuss proposed amendments to the Planning and Zoning Code regarding temporary seasonal businesses and also mobile food units or food trucks. Darren Davis from Frosty's was there. He was okay with the proposed document with some changes. There were a couple other changes that were suggested by members of the committee, such as, I know the proposal listed that temporary seasonal use could only operate for a certain number of months in a calendar year, so many months at a time. It was suggested, and I think it was pretty much agreed by the committee, that the proposal will read that there be no time limit, but once the permit is granted, it will be basically for 1 year, but reviewed every 6 months for substantial compliance. So the first permit would be a little bit more involved. The renewals would basically be to make sure the business is in compliance with the zoning code for that type of business. And also, it was suggested, and there's going to be some language introduced at the next meeting for insurance, some kind of verbiage for insurance requirements on food trucks. And also, I know I'm kind of jumping around, but the size of the temporary structures, how big or how small, whatever. And the suggestion is that the footprint of the temporary structure should not exceed 160 square feet. That was kind of added to these proposed amendments. Tom did an amazing job. It seems like he pretty much thought of everything to kind of bring these codes a little bit up to date with the new types of businesses that we're seeing I think that these proposed clarifications will be more business-friendly to new businesses wanting to open in the city. I think the next meeting should be February 12th. Is that the plan?
Well, what we'll have to do is there's certain Ohio Revised Code and our own code guidelines that we'll have to follow. And what I'll have to do is kind of come up with a final draft, but it would be wise to have Joe take a look at it, make sure legally we're covered. Once he's satisfied, or if he has questions of me, then would set up that meeting with the Planning Commission. The path that we have to follow now is, I think it's, once we get that final draft, there's a 45-day time period where the public can come in and view before we have our Planning Commission meeting. Once we have our Planning Commission meeting, then the Planning Commission makes a recommendation to full City Council. City Council has their required public hearing, which can be at a regular council meeting, and then decide on whether you want to have, make changes, whether you accept what the Planning Commission sent to you, and then whether you have the 3 readings, emergency legislation, that would be ultimately up to you. And I'll work with Joe to determine proper way that ordinance would be drawn up.
And I would also like to add that although we weren't aware that changes really needed to be made, clarifications, I guess I should say, not really changes, but some updating and clarifications. We did, the owner of Frosty's was invited, but the commission, when we're looking at these zoning codes, we are looking at it, while that was helpful, that is what helped us become aware that there was a need to have these updated. We did not focus in on just crafting these for that particular business. We are looking at these codes to encompass potential future businesses. We didn't do this like catering to any specific business. It's a general concept trying to clarify, like I said, to help future businesses, to help Tom know the rules. The rules were pretty vague. This is kind of a new concept, these temporary businesses, so I don't think this will be the last one that we see, hopefully. So that was, I just want you to know that we didn't, we weren't catering to any one specific business when we came up with these proposals.
Okay, thank you, Christie. Anybody have any questions for Christie? No? Okay, thank you. Move on to Fire District. Mike?
No report, but I've been in contact with the fire chief and the other 2 board members, and our first meeting is going to be January 24th at 3:30.
At the firehouse, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
At the firehouse?
I believe so, yeah. I'll check that again, and if it's different, I will email everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to recreation. Christie?
The next rec board meeting is this Thursday at 4:30 at the rec center. Registration is open for boys and girls volleyball right now. It's open to all boys and girls grades 3 to 6. Registration is open for indoor soccer league. It is open to all K through 4th grade boys and girls. Community days sponsored by Respecs and Unified Bank will be Saturday, June 29th. I'm sure we will look forward to that when there is warm weather. And the summer concerts and festivals, all of those are being finalized right now, and there should be a full schedule available by the end of this month.
I talked to Eric. I said, any chance to get another Jimmy Buffett? And he kind of winced. He said, but I do think I've got a Beach Boys cover. I said, that works too.
That works.
Okay. Thank you, Christie. Anybody have any questions for Christie on rec? Okay, we'll move on to Park District.
Haven't met with them yet. We're going to be meeting the 22nd. Basically, no report until after I've met with them.
Thank you.
Okay. I did have a question for Christie. Are they in need of sponsors, do you know, for the concert series?
I'm sure that they are probably in need of sponsors.
Always.
Always, yeah.
Right.
Christie, do we ever do anything for adults over at the rec center?
Yes, there's been ceramic classes, pickleball, some other things going on too. We're trying, but we're always open to ideas too.
One of my friends had suggested sometimes we might have a dance over there for adults only.
It's not a
No,
bad
just
one.
as something to up.
We'll bring that up at the meeting.
He's always looking for like art instructors.
Anytime.
He had Stifle come in last year. We had a good response. We had somebody teaching a drawing class, like portraiture class, and then they did a landscaping. So I don't know if he's talking
I would be
Stifle.
more than happy to teach
That
a
would be
class
awesome.
on acrylic painting.
Awesome.
So
Come to the meeting Thursday.
twist my arm.
Okay, that's everything on the agenda for right now. I mentioned this to a couple of people earlier. I'll bring it up again. I forwarded an email to everyone. Hopefully they saw it. It was one that was sent to me from Jen McMillan in reference to seminars and classes for new council people. They do this every 2 years, and they did them in person for a while, then we ran into COVID, they did them online, but now they're back online, or back on in-person meetings again. They are, the email I sent you has the website and the dates and everything. If you have any questions, get a hold of Jen, she can look that up for you. That's on the Ohio Municipal League's website. And I personally, I've been to them, and I highly recommend them because there's a lot of good information there. And they're all on a Saturday. They're in different parts of the country, or different parts of the states. I think some is in Athens, one's I think in Columbus, one up towards Akron, and they are on Saturdays. So I recommend if anybody can get away on any of those Saturdays, get with Jen on the registration dates. I already checked with Annette, and then normally the city pays for the registration fees for those classes. So like I say, get a hold of Jen, she can give you more information than I can.
And then I opened it up to...
Okay, Joe, do you have anything to say that you want to bring up? Just the...
Again, thank you to everyone for your support tonight, and I know I'm talking to Jeremy a couple weeks ago, there's some things that need done, so we're going to hit the ground running and go from there.
Okay, thank you. So the next meeting will be on Monday, February 5th, 7 p.m. here in the city building. If no one has any questions, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Second? Meeting's adjourned.
It's up on Polaris.